What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Financial Wolf channel. So in today's video, we are going to be discussing how I get my iPhones that I resell for such a cheap price and how you guys can do it too. So recently, I've kind of changed up my phone flipping business where I'm buying less phones, but I'm making a bigger profit margin on the phones I purchase. So in a week, maybe I'll buy 5 to 7 phones, but I'm making like $400 to $500 on these purchases. And that is why I am making more money now than I was in the prior months, even though I'm buying less phones. So guys, it's really not about how many phones you are buying every single week. It's about how much you are making on the phones you are buying. So in today's video, I'm going to share some tips I have for you guys on how you can get your iPhones at a cheaper price. So the first tip that I have for you guys who are looking to get iPhones at a cheaper price is to simply post more ads on whichever platform you are using. If you are posting more ads on the platforms you are using, of course, more people will end up coming to you with their old phones. And when more people come to you with their old phones, there will be more deals available to you. And when there are more deals available to you, you will obviously have a better chance of getting a great deal on phones that you have a high profit margin on. My recommendation to you guys who want to have a similar business model to me where you buy less phones but you have a higher profit margin on the phones you are buying is to post at least 3 to 6 ads on Craigslist every single day. And if those ads get flagged, you then post more ads, like typically 3 to 5. If they get flagged, you post another 3 to 5 and hope they stick. And I also recommend that you post at least 2 ads every day on OfferUp and try to get those ads to stick. So if they get taken out, to the same thing and try to post them again and have the OfferUp ads stick as well. The next tip that I have for you guys who are trying to get your iPhones at a lower price is to offer on as many phones as you can. So for example, every single day I offer on every iPhone 7, 8, X, XS, and XS Max that I see on OfferUp and sometimes on Craigslist as well. So I'll offer on every single iPhone that I see, no matter what price it is listed at. So for example, even if an iPhone 7 is listed at $800, I'll offer $150 for it and just see what they say, because the person might have had a typo or they're just willing to take a lower price for it. You never know how people are going to react to your lowball offer. So my suggestion is to just offer on every single ad you see. So the third tip I have for you guys who are looking to get iPhones at a cheaper price is to negotiate well. Try to leverage as much as you possibly can when you are negotiating for a phone. So there are a ton of ways to leverage when you are negotiating for a phone. I could probably make a whole entire separate video on this. I probably will in the future, but I'm just going to go through some things I typically leverage in a phone deal or some things I do to try and get a phone at a cheaper price. Something I always do now when I am looking to buy a phone is after I offer on it in OfferUp, for example, I'll ask as many questions as I possibly can. I'll get them to try and say no to some things. I'll ask some questions like, is this device the highest gigabyte? Is the box included? Are accessories included? Is the phone brand new? Or, stuff like that. Trying to search for some things I can leverage. And I actually learned this technique from Kish Vlogs, and ever since I started implementing this technique, I've been getting phones for a much cheaper price because it really devalues the phone in the person that's selling it mind, and they're thinking, oh, well, it doesn't have all of these things. It doesn't have the original box. It doesn't have the original accessories. It's not the highest gigabyte. And they'll be more willing to sell you their device for a lower price that you can then go on to resell it for a tremendous profit. Another thing I always do when I am negotiating for a phone, and this applies more to my Craigslist deals, when people actually message me on my personal phone to sell me a phone, and this is when I get the people on the phone. When I call them on the phone, it is easier to negotiate a phone deal because people are more willing to just delete the conversation when they are talking to you on text. But when you call them and get them on the phone, it's very unlikely that they will just hang up on you, and it's hard for them to negotiate back because you know a lot more about iPhones than probably the person selling it, because you do this every single day most likely, and the person that's selling it is just trying to get rid of their old phone. So they'll be more willing to negotiate with you, and they'll be more willing to hear you out because they don't know a lot about phones, and you do, so you can really leverage a lot of things. My final negotiation tip for you guys is to never ask for the IMEI before you meet someone in person. And of course, there are some exceptions to this. If someone's driving driving like 20 to 30 minutes to meet you, I would ask for the IMEI up front, because it's kind of unfair to suddenly lowball them when they drove like 30 minutes to your location. I tried to negotiate the IMEI beforehand if they're driving super far, but typically if they're driving like 15 minutes, I don't worry about the IMEI, because I'll like meet them in person and then I'll check the IMEI, and if it's a bad ESN, I can lower the price a ton, and I can explain to them, oh, this device is financed, I can't use it on a carrier unless I pay it off, so I'm pretty much gonna have to pay double for this device and all this stuff. So I'll be like, oh, I have to pay it off, all this stuff, it can't be used, and of course they'll be willing to go more down on the price, and since they've already drove all the way out there, they don't really just want to go home without any money, so I offered them a super low price, and almost always, I've had a couple rare instances that they haven't taken the money, but usually they take the lowball offer, and I make even more profit. The fourth tip I have for you guys who are trying to get your iPhones at a lower price is to follow up. And by that I mean you have to follow up with someone after they reject you. And this is a mistake I made in the beginning of my phone flipping career. I would follow up with someone almost never. Like, I would give them a price, they said no, I just wouldn't say anything. And that is why I never closed a deal, because if I gave them a lowball offer, they would just say no half the time, and I would never close anything. My recommendation to you guys is, after you get rejected by someone, follow up with them a couple days later and be like, hey, this is my price. If you're still interested in taking the money, I can meet you on this day. Always give them a date as well, because it really gives them an image in their mind. Like, I'll meet this person on November 27th, 2020, and they'll take my money, or something like that. Like, not 2 years in the future, but maybe a couple days or a day in advance. If the individual still says no to your price a couple weeks later, and they're still not willing to negotiate at all, just leave it and go back to them a couple weeks later, or maybe just a week later, and ask them, hey, this is still my price, is the phone still available, I'll be ready to buy it for this price. And the longer the phone stays on the market, the more willing the person will be to negotiate. And keep asking them and following up with the individual until they say they sold the phone. So guys, just to sum things up, always follow up with the person that you want to buy their phone, because typically they won't take your lowball price the second their phone gets on the market, because they feel that their phone is worth more. But the longer their phone stays on the market, the more willing they will be to negotiate with you. And I've even had cases where people come to me and be like, hey, will you still do $200 for that iPhone 7 Plus? I still have it for sale. Can you meet tomorrow? So guys, never delete a conversation after someone rejects you. Always follow up with them a couple days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later, until they eventually sell the phone, or even they sell it to you. Guys, the final tip I have for you when you are trying to get iPhones for cheap is to utilize every single platform that you can. Use every single platform that is available to you. Try to use Mercari, try to use OfferUp, try to use Craigslist, try to use everything, even LetGo maybe. This is something I definitely need to work on. Currently, I'm only using OfferUp, Mercari, and Craigslist. I'm trying to maybe get into LetGo. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to look into some platforms that I can get even more deals from. If you are utilizing every single platform that you can, you will be exposed to more phones. And the more phones you are exposed to, the better chance you will have at striking an awesome deal. And by striking an awesome deal, you will increase your profit margin substantially in your business. Okay guys, so I think that's going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a like, and also subscribe to be in the first 250 subscribers to my YouTube channel.